or once again, like trying to be of service, but also without knowing anything about what you're doing down here, like don't want to like say something that's like, yeah, we know that, idiot. But like what I was trying to make a video about was like how the sort of the social scientists and like the psychoanalysis movement and all of it, how they harm or they diagnose the very things that make a lot of people successful. And if you're like poor, or if you're coming up in the world, or it's your time to come up, or whatever it is, I mean, they really would perceive, they're doing it to me, but I got all my, like, how do people succeed at things? Like they're perceiving those ways of thinking as narcissistic, like grandiose, self-centered, like they are though. And there's a rationalist, so like if you told a psychoanalyst, like, I want to be a dictator, like I want, like, but you don't want to be a dictator, you want to win, a competitive fencing tournament, or you want to make a video channel where a lot of people see it and you help a lot of people, or you make a lot of money and that gets you out of poverty. Like, with thinking in grandiose ways is like how it's done, right? But you run across, like, you get caught by these people in the system, and it's like, a social worker thinks you need psychiatric help. Like, okay, fine, but they're gonna look at all the ways in which, like, you're perceiving to succeed as like narcissistic and grandiose. Like, that really is true. Like, that's what we're doing a lot of people in the high-priced nut house. But like, it's also what any like psychiatrist or psychoanalyst or like anything would do to a young person who wasn't like from the higher classes, but like had a great idea, like to succeed, like with something, like succeed financially. Like, their theories are so sick, like they would harm the modes of thinking of such a person, like as grandiose. But like, anyone who succeeds in anything that I'm aware of, like, thought of themselves in sort of grandiose terms, like, like, I want to be like a dictator, I want to be, I want to be a great man in history, like, some shit like that. They really are diagnosing that because they're rationalists. They call it delusional. Like, I mean, they would harm a person. I don't know why they're doing it, but I mean, they are diagnosing people who can like think conceptually and like think in big terms, and like would harm people coming up in the world who maybe had a breakdown and like needed their counsel. I believe that firmly, because they would call those ways of thinking like narcissistic. They really would, though. I mean, I'm pretty certain of it. They were doing it to me, but they were doing it to a lot of other people like there who just had big ideas about things that people succeeded things. If you're caught by this movement of like social science type people, like, right, they will diagnose you with a mental illness for. I mean, it's very dangerous the way they perceive, like, because they would harm a person who was coming up in the world, who had figured out the tactics of how people succeed, like to think in grandiose ways about oneself, like, imagine like they could be the dictator of a country or something, like, right? They hear what people are saying, they take it literally, and then they rationalize it. They're scientific, he's narcissistic, like that's what the root of his problems are. Like, if you have a drinking problem or something and you're a kid, but like you also have a big idea for like how to make a YouTube channel that can like help you make a lot of money, and like, in the future, they will cut down your self-esteem because they don't understand how people succeed at things where it's kind of monetary, or like they don't understand success. Like, they're just doing studies. Like, they're not really succeeding in anything so much as they're like part of this coordinator class of people. But like, you have to keep your kids away from them if you're in the generation that's like coming up, or the type of people that are coming up in our society right now, or you know what to do with this technology. That's my humble opinion.